Well, hey, hot mamas. Welcome to Crazy Sexy Menopause. I'm Betty Vargas, and I educate pre-peri and post-menopausal women on how to live more vibrantly through better applications of my three keys: mindset, meals, and movement. Today, we are joined by Alissa Sanders. How are you today, Alissa?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm very well, thank you. I'm just going to read your bio and let everyone know exactly who you are and what you have been doing in the world.
Okay.
Alissa is a Los Angeles born singer, composer, writer, and cultural researcher who has lived in Salvador, Bahia since 1996, where she explores identity, ancestry through the musical traditions of the African diaspora. Her work blends jazz, samba, blues, spirituals, and Afro Brazilian song forms into multilingual sound shapes by collaborations and performances across Brazil, the United States, Africa, and Asia. She co-created the project Voces Ancestrais in 2024, released multiple recordings, including her album Beginnings and the single Yamanja, and continues to expand her creative landscape through writing, photography, and cross-cultural collaborations under her Nomad Soul brand. She is pursuing a master's degree in ethnomusicology at the Federal University of Bahia and deepens her craft through the All the Way In vocal improvisation masterclass. Her work affirms a core belief: music and art serve as living maps that guide us through ancestry, identity, and the shared rhythm of humanity. Welcome, Alissa. How are you?
Thank you. Wow, I'm feeling feeling even better after hearing the bio. Usually we don't think about all the things we've done until like it's in a format and someone reads it back to you. It's like, oh,
Absolutely. You are doing
thank you.
some wonderful work in the world. I am so deeply impressed and honored to have you join us today.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
You're welcome. So, listen, let's just get started into what is going on with menopause. So, can you
Mm.
tell me how you describe your path through menopause?
Ooh, well, um, it started off very rocky.
How so?
And even though we all know that we're going to go through menopause as women, it's a natural part of our biology. I think you don't think about it until it hits, and no one really prepares you for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't even realize when it was starting what was going on. My hair was thinning. I was bleeding really heavily. I had gained 15 pounds in 3 weeks. And I was just like, okay, this is strange, but never thought it was menopause. At the time, I was actually hoping that I could still get pregnant because I was seeing someone I wanted to have a child. And that's when I realized I went and had my testing done for hormones, and everything was really low. And I had to come to terms with the fact that, oh, wait, factory shutting down here.
Oh.
And then soon after, the pandemic started,
Mm-hmm.
and I realized I was having hot flashes, and also, waking up at 3 in the morning. My whole sleep schedule was changing, cramps. There were foods I couldn't eat anymore. It was just like I was getting this new body. And
Mm.
this happening during the pandemic in a time where it was, I couldn't really go to the doctor. And finally, my mom was just like, go, just put on a mask and go. And I went to see my gynecologist, and he's like, yeah, you are starting menopause, and he is a homeopath. So he's like, well, here's some homeopathic things we can do to help with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did a lot of my own research because, we were all stuck in the house.
Right.
And because I've always been more in alignment with natural medicine and integrative medicine, I turned to Ayurveda. I turned to Chinese medicine. I really started looking at nutrition, like what were some things that maybe I shouldn't be eating anymore, trying to find out as much as I could online. And then later on, I think it was still in 2020, I was able to go back to Los Angeles. And I went to a Chinese health clinic and was doing acupuncture and taking herbs. I was just throwing everything at it. Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, diet. Nothing was really helping. I still wasn't sleeping. I was still having hot flashes, cramps, really reduced quality of life. And finally started taking hormones. And that's when I started to get a little bit of relief from the hot flashes. And was having talks with my doctors around, yes, this is a physical process, but this is really intense in you. What else is going on? Mm-hmm. And my homeopath was he's a gynecologist, and he had been through me and, lots of breakups and this desire to be a mother and all the ways I was trying to prepare myself for motherhood and, fighting with fibroids, polycystic ovaries. And he was the first one to say, there's a lot of anger in you. Could these hot flashes be around anger that you're not going to be able to have children? And maybe you need to really look into that and release that and accept that you're moving into a different stage of life. Trust that there's a reason why you were not meant to have kids, and that there's something else that is going to come to you because you did not have kids, something that you could not have achieved if you had had kids. And I burst into tears.
Oh my gosh.
But I believe what he said was true. I do believe what he said was true, and I was harboring a lot of anger around a really bad breakup that had just happened before COVID, around the fact that I was going into menopause and at COVID and all that meant. Just a huge regret of knowing that I would not be able to birth my own children, which had been a dream since I was a teenager. So it was really rocky, the process of having to accept those things, and also the process of accepting where my body was now. Like, okay, there's some things that I can't eat anymore. There's changes happening in me that I need to accept. And so these things I'm not going to eat anymore because they're going to cause this kind of reaction. For how long, I don't know. But for right now, I need to look at where my body's at now. Mm-hmm. The type of exercise. I couldn't do like really heavy cardio because I just heat up too much. So what kind of exercises can we do that are more soothing, that are more cooling? What are the ways that I can go within? So yeah, it's been a journey, and I would say, I'm 6 years in, and maybe it took about 5 years to really come to terms with it and accept all the different pieces. And there's still moments when it's difficult because, I think there's a part of you that wants things to go back to the way they've been for most of your life. And it's like, no, it's not going to be that way. So what do we create with the way my body is now, with the way my mind is now?
Right. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I thank you so much for sharing. That is probably something that many women have to come to grips with in terms of mothering, the mother question, because some people think, oh, well, it's going to happen. We don't even think about that. But there are some of us that do want children, and cannot have them. And that is something to, it's really coming to grips with a death, like it is a death of a family member. It's that understanding, coming to that understanding that it's not going to happen. And how long did it take you to come to that realization, and be and sit with it, and I don't want to say be comfortable with it, but to just come to the realization that it's not going to happen?
I'm going to say it took about 5 years. Yeah. To really let go of all the anger, to really accept, to really start looking into, well, what are the ways that I can fulfill this mother desire without giving birth? And I have 2 dogs now. But also the thing that my gynecologist told me about, there's something else there for you. There's something else you're meant to do. And once you find that, then the anger will go. And I feel like I'm on the path to it. I don't exactly know what it is, but I feel like I'm moving in the direction of it. And I just have to accept that the higher power knew better than me, and that I didn't need to have children in this lifetime. Otherwise, I would have.
Exactly. And would you say that you are birthing other projects that serve the world? Did you find that through your work, you're getting solace or satisfaction from those areas?
I think that my work is shifting because there's the question of legacy. And I think a lot around Ancestral Voices, which is a project I did last year. Last year. My work around really looking into ancestral connections through music has to do with this idea of legacy, because my legacy won't be children. So I really feel the desire and the need for my work in some way to be a legacy, and that it go beyond, oh, this is really fun to do, which I think it had been for the first 20 years. Oh, I just like this is personally fulfilling, and move into, this is something that is going to give something to the world, that is going to last beyond my time here on the planet, that is going to in some way improve things. I think that's a big one. Like I want to leave something better when I'm gone. So I feel like my work is moving more in that direction.
Beautiful. And how has menopause shifted what you give yourself permission to express on the stage or in your writing?
And I hear so many women who are in their 50s and 60s talk about this. The whole thing of not caring anymore about what people think, that's been extremely liberating. I'll find sometimes that I'll just blurt things out. It's like the filter's gone. It's like, oh, did I say that? Yes, I did.
And how was it received when you said it?
I don't know. I don't think about that part anymore. It's just, there's something that comes through that's like, this needs to be said, and I'm going to say it. And I suppose there's a clarity that comes with age, with experience. There's, like, we see bullshit because we've been through it before, and it's like, oh yeah, this is really clear what this thing is. And there's a certain urgency to not like, oh, well, we'll let them figure it out. No, we're gonna say it. We're gonna let people know what I need, what I don't need. That's another thing that's been very liberating, to be able to say no. to be able to say, yeah, this is a great thing, but I'm really looking at my time as a precious commodity. If I live another 50 years, I have a very definite idea of where I want my energy to go. Because that's the other thing. Like, my energy levels are different at menopause, and I have to accept that. So it's like, I can't be running around doing like 50 million things at once like I did at 26. I'm just not there. So let me carefully choose the things and the places and the people that I want to invest my energy in. Are they things that are going to bring me pleasure? Are they things that are moving me towards the legacy? Or are they just superfluous? Is it something I've done before and I don't need that experience anymore? So,
Yes, I love that. I absolutely love that. How do you imagine your voice, your body, and your creativity evolving in the next decades as you continue through menopause? Because you're still in the throes of menopause, correct?
yeah, I think so. I'm still taking my hormones. Um, I think so. I think so. I have to get my blood work to see, but I think that's another thing. Is like, I'm not sure how long it even
It
lasts.
lasts until it lasts. You are postmenopause when you have gone a full 365 days without a menstrual cycle. So
Oh,
yes, and then the 366th day, you're postmenopause. So you have to go
okay.
a full year without having a menstrual cycle, and then you are postmenopause.
Oh, so I'm post. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
I'm 5 years in the post.
Okay. So what is your age now?
56.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's great. Congratulations. But you're still now. Are you having any symptoms now? Still?
I am still on the hormones for hot flashes because they were so severe and debilitating that I'm just like, let me keep doing it. Also because of reading that I had done around hormones for bone density.
How do you imagine your voice, your body, and your creativity evolving in the next decade as you continue through postmenopause?
Mm. I am watching my voice get stronger. I still take voice lessons and am doing a lot of technique, which is kind of like bodybuilding for the voice, because our muscles do change after menopause, and so making sure my voice stays strong. But what is, I think, making my voice itself stronger is the confidence. There is a boost of confidence that I feel is coming from this maturity, from being in this third stage as a woman. So there's that factor, and that's pretty exciting to. It again is liberating to get on stage and to not be thinking so much about pleasing other people, and to be thinking about what it is that I have come to say, what it is that I've come to share. There is a process, a deep process of acceptance of my voice. Um, and just like, this is what it is. How do I learn to love this? Because it is a reflection of all that I've lived. So, how do I accept and love it fully? Um, you asked about creative, so voice, creativity.
Yeah.
Um, Creativity, there's also the desire to really dive deep into self expression and authenticity, which I find is another theme among women who are postmenopausal, is this thing of, who am I really? And how is it that I want to show up in this world, not for my husband, not for my kids, not for society, but for me. So that is also coming through in my creativity. Allowing myself to begin new things. I'm learning to play new instruments, the banjo and the imbira. and
That's
exploring these
beautiful.
other forms of voice and just
Beautiful.
let myself play. Like, I don't have to be like a maestro. I can just see what I can do with it. Um,
I love that.
and body wise, I think really respecting that my body has been with me for 56 years and it's healthy and I can still pretty much do everything I want. There's some things I choose not to do because, like injuries take a little bit longer to heal. Um, but for the most part, we're at 98%, which is incredible. And being really thankful for that and really being more conscious of what I put into it in terms of food, um, trying to make sure I get rest, water, the things that it needs to continue being healthy. Exercise, which I feel the desire to do more of than I'm actually doing now. But I'm doing my Pilates twice a week. I'm doing my rowing. I do walk a lot. But the more exercise I do, the better I feel.
Yes.
And I think entering into a relationship with my body that is different from when I was in my 20s and I had a perfect body and didn't know it and was like, oh, my stomach's too big. Oh, my butt's not big enough. Oh, my legs are too long. My arms are too long. My hair is too nappy. And just being like, you know what? We are perfect. So we got a tummy. That's okay. We get to have a tummy at 56. It's manageable. My hair's thinning, but let's just cut it short and work with it. you know? So,
Yes, yes. I love that you have shared that because we as women are so hard on ourselves when we're younger, and then
yeah.
when we get of a certain age, we look back and think, "Wow, I was really cool back then. I had it going
Yeah.
on," and you
Yes.
still do, and you're wiser and you're better for it. I absolutely
Yes.
love that. How does living in Salvador shape your perspective on menopause, especially compared to the women who talk about it or don't talk about it in the United States?
Well, I've been here for 30 years, so I don't really know how women talk about it in the States other than, like your program, other women who are talking about it online. I do have some friends in the States. Actually, the ones who've gone through it, they didn't talk about it at all. Um, I had one friend that mentioned when I was bleeding really heavily in my late 40s that it could have been perimenopause. I was like, what's that? Yeah, I'd never heard of that before. And she was right. But, I didn't even know who to talk to about that. Here, again, my friends who went through menopause didn't talk about it.
Not even when you when they said, "Oh, it's probably menopause."
No, that was my doctor.
Oh, okay. So now,
Yeah.
so did you feel supported by the women around you when things started shifting, or did you have to carve out your own understanding?
Well, it was during COVID. So,
Oh,
no. because,
you were on your own.
yeah,
Well, you did mention your mother. Is your mother in Brazil with you, or is she in the
no,
States?
she's in Los Angeles.
Oh, so yeah, that physical distance.
Yeah. And I actually had asked her about it because I didn't know what was happening. I was just, the hot flashes were so bad, I literally would just be dripping. And
Wow.
I'd have to just lie on the floor and just, and my mom, she never went through that. She's like, my period just stopped. So I don't even know what to tell you.
That that is so prevalent in our community
Yeah.
that because I've had relatives as well who have said that it just didn't happen for me that way. And my period just stopped, and I didn't know. And so I think that, based on our thinking of menopause being that it's just another fact of life, that it's something that we're just going through, that our mothers and grandmothers and aunts just kind of go with the flow of what it is, and they don't recognize the quote unquote symptoms of the estrogen deficiency. And so they don't recognize that. And no worries. And so so they have a different perspective of how we be in menopause. And so now, I can totally understand your mom saying, well, my period just stopped, because that's how my periods just stopped. But prior to my period just stopping, because I wasn't tracking really, because I didn't really know to track, now that I've done research on it, I can recognize some of the symptoms. I was like, oh, okay, I did have that. Oh, okay, yeah, I remember going through that. And so that was kind of like how I did, but because I had elders in my life who were just, matter of fact. Their response was, well, if I had a hot flash, I turned the fan on. When the hot flash went away, I turned the fan off. So it was just that matter of fact. It wasn't a big deal like that. And so when that taught me to not take this so seriously. These are it's a phase that I'm going through, but it's not going to kill me, Right. And so what this is, I can get through it. And I think that that, along with exercise and my nutrition, assisted me in having a different perspective on my menopause experience. And so and everyone is unique. Everyone's experience is unique. So, I don't know if it's how, the environment that we're in that makes our experience more challenging, the stress that we're under. And I think your doctor was very profound in terms of your experience being related to the underlying anger that you were going through, that affected your experience. Because your mom probably didn't have that experience either,
No. Yeah.
So it's a blessing that you had someone so astute in terms of what you were going through and how to pinpoint that, because a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah,
They don't have that. But what beliefs or myths about menopause did you have to dismantle once your experience began?
I think the biggest one was about my worth as a woman. No longer being fertile. No longer serving the function of being able to have children. I think I really, for a while, felt like, I guess, the female equivalent of emasculated. I don't know how you would say that.
Yeah,
But I did feel
that's
that.
real.
Yeah. And I was like, well, who's going to want me now? I can't give people kids. And I was surprised because I consider myself a pretty forward-thinking woman, and I know that a woman's worth in society is more than I know that intellectually. But that came up big for me. I was like, well, no use in dating. I'll probably never get married now because I can't have kids. So what man's going to want me? It was a really prevalent thought.
Yeah.
That was probably the main one.
That is, I get it. I really get it because I do have friends who have gone through that and feel the exact same way. And they have found other ways to mother. And I'm so grateful for you that you have your music and that you are giving that, birthing so much into the world. And how has menopause influenced your creative energy and your stamina and your presence?
Ooh, stamina and presence, creative energy. Um, oof. It's a big one. That's a big one coming up because I have not felt as creative, and I feel like it's in there, but I have to get to where it is. I guess it's kind of like the way I was accessing creativity before is maybe not the way I'm going to access it now. And which I'm speculating because this is something I'm in now where I'm like, I used to just, these ideas would just come, and now there's a call to be in silence and to stop listening so much to the outside and to focus on inside. And when I allow myself to fully do that, because that's really hard in our society, and especially here, Brazil is a very extroverted place.
Is
It's
it?
very much, Brazil is very extrovert, it's very communal, the energy is very outward facing. And everything in me is saying, no, go in. And so it's kind of counterculture. But I feel like that's where the creativity is going to come from. I feel like there is almost like there's an aquifer of creative force that I have not tapped into yet. I used all the groundwater, but there's an aquifer that's much larger that I will be able to tap into. And I think this is one of the places I think that menopause can take us. Because before, I think that creative energy is traditionally outward for women. We're giving it to spouses, we're giving it to children. It's not, and there's often not enough left for us at the end of the day. And once that function has been served, and I think menopause is a time when we get to really turn to ourselves, and then we find that there's a reserve of creative energy that we can use. Stamina's lower. Stamina's lower. I don't know if that's the case for you as well, but I do find that I have less stamina. And I don't know, maybe that's also part of the turn within. So creative energy, stamina, and what was the other part of the question? Did I get all three?
Yeah, your energy, your creative energy, and your stamina, and your sense of presence.
Sense of presence. Now, this is an interesting thing.
And on
Because
your presence on stage, actually, and in your rehearsal and in your social life.
this has been interesting because this is something that I'm getting from interactions with other people. And like you mentioned when you read my bio, I was in a master class for a year with 24 other singers from all over the world. And we met up 3 times in the year to sing collectively and work on this methodology, which is called Vocal River, which is about collective improvisation. And it's kind of a very different way of singing, because it's not about you soloing and being like, I've got this great voice. It's really about, we are 22 voices together, and how do we create something together, which means we have to listen. We have to know when our voice needs to be in front. We need to know when we need to be in back supporting someone else who has something they're putting in front. We need to know when it's time to be quiet. We need to know how to support people. We need to know how to lift people up. We also need to know when it's our time to get up and shine, because there's something we have to give that other people don't. And what I kept hearing from people in that group was that I come with a wisdom and with this presence of aggregating people, like kind of like bringing everyone together and kind of holding space for people, of
Mothering
really
them.
yeah, yeah, and really holding. And the wisdom piece was interesting to me, because like, wise me? Like, oh wait, I guess I am in that age category where I get to be wise. And people always said they felt very calm in my presence. And in the last session, where I really had an opportunity to put all of these new experiences and new realizations and maturity into a piece of work that I created, because part of our assignment was to create a song around ancestry. And I created this piece, and I was like, oh, it's not pretty, because our ancestry is not pretty.
That part.
So I'm like, but this is my truth. And I put it out, and I finished, and the room was in silence, and some people were crying, and just like this, the energy had shifted from this piece. And when people spoke to me after, including the teacher, they were like, this is you. This is the person we've been waiting to see. This is you. This force, this bigness, because I think we are so used to hiding, women, and especially Black women. It has not been safe for us to be seen. It has not been safe for us to shine. And we have so much that we can give, that we can do, when we can allow ourselves to fully share our light, to fully share our strength, our energy, our bigness. But we have to feel safe to do it. We so often don't feel safe. So I think one gift of menopause has been to be able to create this piece of work that really allowed me to come through in all of me. And then to see what that gave to others. People just saying how like they felt their ancestral lines are being healed through that song. So many things that were shared with me, and how much healing happened for people, even through the tears. And I was like, oh, this is why we got to show up 100%. This is why we got to work through our stuff so we can shine. It's not about ego, like, ooh, like it can often be in our 20s and 30s when we come into self post-menopause. I think we're realizing that being our full selves is in service to others, to community.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. That is that is so profound. I so appreciate you sharing that, and that you discovered that within yourself. And and you discovered it through the eyes of other people, because you could have felt that internally and then not and dismissed it, but
Mhm.
because it was mirrored to you through others. I'm so glad you received it. Oh, what a gift. Can anyone have access to what you shared so beautifully, that others that moved other the other musicians so magnificently?
Yeah, there actually is video of it. I This is one of the stamina things. There is so much was happening in October. I haven't gone through all the videos and photos, but I do plan to post it because it
Okay.
was so moving to people. And it's something I'm going to put into my shows because I feel like it's something that needs to be on stage.
Absolutely. And when you do that, please send me the link, and we can put it in the description, so that
Mm,
others
okay.
can, yeah, so that others can experience your work.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
No, my pleasure. How has menopause influenced the themes that you're exploring in your upcoming album or your cross cultural collaborations?
Huh. Um, I think it's all goes back to this idea of legacy and what is it that I can create that will live beyond me, and of I think the self awareness that comes. I don't know if it's from menopause or just from being in your 50s, of understanding that one of my roles is to be a bridge. Um, that's something I've been doing my whole life. I'm an American that lives in Brazil, and so I'm kind of constantly bridging the cultures through my music, but also just through life, speaking two languages fluently, understanding two cultures intimately. Um, and I tend to do the same thing when I travel. I think this is something that a lot of African Americans of my generation learned to do was code switching
Yes.
because with the integration piece, we lived in black neighborhoods and we went to school in white neighborhoods or with, mostly white kids. So we learned to code switch. And that is something that's really helped me traveling, is to be aware of there's a certain way I am around these people and there's a certain way I am around these other people, and that
Hmm.
allows me to be received in a different way to communicate more effectively. So I think that kind of prepared me to just be able to go through the world and be able to code switch to the point where when I travel now, people don't assume I'm American.
Mm.
Um, I was in Israel in 2018 in Tel Aviv, which is a pretty mixed city. So you do have, there are a lot of Ethiopians there. And I'll remember two months in, this woman came up to me in Hebrew and asked me directions to the street. And I was like, wow, I guess I don't look like a tourist because I was with an Israeli. She didn't ask him, she asked me. And somehow I understood what she was saying. I understood enough so that I knew she wanted directions to the street. So I spoke to her in English, which she understood, but she spoke to me in Hebrew because she thought I was Israeli. And so I spoke back to her in English and explained to her how to go, and she left. And my Israeli friend said, how did you, how'd you even know? I said, I just knew, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so that's, I think, one of my superpowers. And that's the thing of menopause. I think we get to discover our superpowers, which are often things we've already been doing, but we get to claim them like, oh, yeah, there's this thing I do all the time. Okay, let
Yes.
me claim this thing.
And
And so,
own
how
it.
am I going? Yes, yes. How am I going to own it? And what am I going to do with it once I own it? What can I do with this thing?
Oh, I love that. I absolutely love that. How does your research in ethnomusicology inform your understanding of women's experiences in aging, embodiment, and in
Mm.
voice?
Mm. Oh, I don't know yet. This is my first year, and I
Okay.
have not done my field research. So I'll be able to answer that once I do my field research because I will be focusing on women. And my research is around identity.
Okay.
So I'll be interviewing younger and older women. And yeah, it's going to be interesting because I'm going to be looking at populations, rural populations, um, in a state that's very matriarchal in many senses. Um, we'll see. I don't know yet.
Uh, Well, your work sits at the crossroads of ancestral memory and African diasporic expression. So,
Mhm.
how has midlife deepened that connection for you?
Oh, that's a good question. I think the question of ancestry um, has deepened because I'm closer to my ancestors now. I think most of the family that I knew, they're ancestors. So I think about
Mm.
it a lot. Um, and I think about all that they gave to me, all the love. And I wish I could go back and talk to them now. Because I think when you're kids, like, oh, yeah, you know, they're like old and, they probably don't have anything interesting to say. Boy,
That's
do I wish I
right.
could talk to them now. I just think
Yes.
about all that they went through, and I think I understand how complicated life was in a way that you just don't get when you're younger, you know. And I'm so grateful to them, and I so respect them. And I think my big drive is around connection, being a bridge that I am. And this thing that I think is in us, definitely as African Americans, but I think perhaps through other places in the diaspora, of we're from this place, but not really, you know. And we see this really strongly in the States now, where like the true American has a certain look and speaks a certain language, and everyone else is not a real American. Um, in Brazil, that's not the same narrative,
Mm.
but the statistics for because blacks as classified in the U.S. are more than 50% of the population here because 40% of the Africans who were captured and brought to the Americas, 40% came to Brazil. So that was a lot of Africans. And there's a lot more retention of the culture here because you just had more people over more time. Um, but still, Brazil, the country itself, doesn't want to admit its African roots. So that the African is either exoticized, but it's not considered the basis of the culture here. It's convenient for carnival, that then it can come out. But it's not really taught in schools. Today actually happens to be Black Consciousness Day, that just became a national holiday. But
Wow.
in my state, which is 70% Black, it was not a holiday until 2 years ago. So Afro Brazilians also, that they are Afro Brazilians, you know, are they fully Brazilians or is there something that makes them less than a European Brazilian? So I think part of my work around connecting is I tend to think of Blacks of the diaspora as being like siblings who lost their mother at different periods of time, Africa being mother. Brazil was older when she lost the mother, so it remembers more, it retained more about her. We were a baby just 250 years ago, so we don't remember as much. But we're all from the same mother, so we all share certain characteristics from her. And I feel like when we come together, we'll recognize those characteristics that we share because we come from the same source. Even though there's been mixtures and there's been different experiences and a whole lot of time and geography that separates us, I feel like in the DNA, there's still these markers that we can recognize. And so that's what my work is really, really focusing now on, and how that manifests through the music, because we're oral cultures,
Yes.
So we retain the information, but we didn't write it down. It's in our songs, it's in our dance, it's in our folk tales.
Yes, yes. I do get it. We have such a rich, rich history, and I'm grateful that it's being preserved there, because there are attempts to erase it from our culture here in the United States. So I'm of the belief that it will always prevail. Someone will always have the history and the stories to share with those who are coming after us. So, so, as someone who performs around the world, what is it like managing symptoms while traveling and creating and doing live shows?
Oh, that has been challenging. I don't know, can you hear the drum beats?
I can.
In the background?
I can.
That was kind of perfect as you were talking about it.
I know. I was loving it. I'm glad you brought it up.
It's been challenging. Before I had the hot flashes under control, the makeup would literally melt off of my face.
Oh no.
So fans, had to bring fans. I'd use them on stage.
Oh
no. Let me see. Carrying around a lot of supplements and the hormones, and having to made sure I had them with me, and there's stuff I need to take before I go on stage so I don't have a meltdown, stuff like that.
Oh no. What kind of supplements did you take?
Okay, so magnesium, probiotics. Gosh, I have a mix. Vitamin B's in there. Vitamin D was in there for a while. Create some proteins that we need when we're going through menopause, and some things that were to help with the processing of the estrogen. I don't remember the names of everything, but I would literally carry like a sack like this of supplements around. So I try to sneak a whole bunch of them, swallow them down before I went to eat, so it didn't look like, because I think people see you taking like 20 pills or something and be like, oh my God, what is wrong with you? So just trying to make sure I was getting them in, and then sleep. That was one of the things with Ayurveda. You're hearing the African ancestry happen in the street now. With Ayurveda, you really have to look at your daily cycles, because there are certain things you can be doing that will augment heat, will raise your pitta. So things like trying to get to bed by 10 o'clock and trying to get up by 6 or 7. Diet, certain things I was just like, no, no more coffee. That heats me up too much. Can't have coffee. So, just, I think it took a lot. It took the self-care practice really bumped it up so that I could be on stage. And because there's a point where, and I didn't realize this was connected to, but I was coughing all the time. I was like, what's going on? Do I have tuberculosis? It was, my body was producing too much heat. I had developed acid reflux. And it was affecting my vocal cords. And I just learned that last year. My teacher was like, I think this is reflux. And then I went to an Ayurvedic doctor who was like, okay, we got to get the heat down. So then that was a whole series of treatments and more herbs and things to take. I mean, I literally was carrying around so many supplements. It was crazy.
Wow.
But it has worked.
Well, that's beautiful. And I was going to ask you what self-care practices have become non-negotiable for you during this season.
Non-negotiable.
Yeah, and while you're thinking about that, I just want to say that the music in the background is it's so on point, because we talked about how Brazilians are more extroverted, and it's coming through, and I'm loving it. And every our mutual friend Tendai has, whenever she sends videos or whatever, people are always out having a good time and loving it, and and just being just happy and carefree, and that is coming through in the video, and so I'm just loving it.
Oh, that's good, because I can't isolate it.
I know. It's just confirmation.
Yes. Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah.
That is so funny.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yes, that's who we are.
Yeah, that's part of it. That's part of it.
Yes. So getting back to those self-care practices.
This one, yeah, I have a hard time with routines. So because that's been one of the things I've really had to work on. I'm gonna say my yoga practice, and certain things of Ayurveda that I don't do them every day, but when I do them every day, I feel better. And so if I'm gonna travel, I really try to do them every day because it balances things out. Oil pulling, using the neti pot to balance my sinus, especially around singing. That really does make a difference. Not drinking cold things as much as you want to when you're overheating. Actually, Ayurveda doesn't indicate that. Drinking, I can't really drink. I love wine, but my body's like, no wine. Really trying to sleep well in the days before I travel, because you can't always control your sleeping when you travel. As far as diet, really no cheese, dairy, just body didn't like it before menopause, and really doesn't like it now. And so just anything that is already kind of difficult to digest, not eating that if I'm going to travel, especially if I'm going to perform.
Is bread big in Brazil?
Yes.
How does your body respond to bread?
It would rather I didn't eat it. Here, I had a whole bunch of bread when I was in Italy, and I was fine. So something's going on with the wheat. But here, prefer I didn't eat it. However, I have a friend who makes bread, and she does it with the sourdough starter.
Yes.
That I find my body tolerates a lot better. But ideally, I wouldn't eat it, but I have not been able to cut that out yet. Not yet.
What else do you do or don't do?
Coffee and alcohol. Um, I really try to pay attention to the energy of the place where I'm going to eat, which means I end up cooking a lot for myself because my body has become sensitive to the energy of food. And I don't know if you've experienced this as well, but you know,
Absolutely.
what was going on in the place where this food was made? Were people angry? Were they like, oh, here I am again at work. I hate this place, you know? Are they just throwing it together because, I have to do this? Or was it made with love? And I feel the difference. So I actually spend a lot of money. I shouldn't say a lot of money because it's not a lot of money. I will spend freely on food to make sure that I get quality food. So that on weekends, I go to the organic markets and try to buy all my produce and fruit from organic local sellers because I think that's important to the awareness of supporting our community farms. And if I go out to eat, I really try to go to places that lovingly make their food and that make it with a certain level of consciousness.
How do you determine that vibe in places where you want to purchase foods from, or establishments where they prepare the food? How do you determine whether or not this is a vibe that resonates with you?
I think that's another spidey sense we get with menopause is you just feel it. It's like, I don't want you here. This doesn't feel right. Sometimes it doesn't smell right. It's just like, I don't put this in my body. you know?
Yes. I know. I absolutely know. I get it. I'm right there with you.
Yep.
I am right there with you. Yes. Well, now let me ask you this. What would you tell younger women about preparing for midlife and menopause, especially those who work in creative or physically demanding fields?
Let me turn the light on real quick. There we go. Um, ooh, I guess really tune in to your body before you hit menopause. Listen to it. Be kind to it. Trust it. Let it guide you because our bodies have so much intelligence. Oof.
Say it. Say it.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yes. Now, if you could offer one piece of wisdom to women entering perimenopause today, what truth would you want them to carry with them?
What truth?
Hmm.
What truth? What truth? Oh, that's a good question. ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh my goodness. I'll try to think back. What truth would I wanted to know? That you're as much of a woman as you've ever been. You don't stop being a full woman just because you stop menstruating. I think that's it.
That is, if I had a real mic, that would be a mic drop moment right there. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so very much, Alissa, for your wisdom, for your honesty, your authenticity, your beauty, your grace. This has been a wonderful, wonderful conversation, and I thank you so much.
Thank you, Betty. Thank you for creating this platform. Oh gosh, if I had known about you years ago. I mean, such an amazing resource, and I hope that women will watch this before they hit menopause too. You know,
Yes.
that they have like they know what's coming up, and they can prepare themselves
Yes,
because
absolutely. And that's why I'm here. That is why I'm here. And let me just hold on for 1 minute. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. And be sure to go to Crazy Sexy Menopause and get my free ebook, Three Keys to Maximizing Your Life During Menopause. And always remember, here at Crazy Sexy Menopause, we flash forward and live well. Thank you for joining me. Okay.